Good afternoon. Welcome to Addington Highlands regular meeting, June the 2nd, 2026. I'll call the meeting to order. Today's meeting is being streamed live via the Township of Addington Highlands YouTube channel. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of the live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001 and in accordance with Ontario's Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, that all information provided for or at a public meeting / consultation or other public process are considered part of the public record. Members of council staff, delegations, and attendees should be mindful of using names of individuals or entities when discussing matters in public. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. As per the Township's procedure bylaw as amended, all votes during electronic meetings will be recorded votes. All of council is present in the council chambers. Thank you. So the first item is the approval of the agenda. We have a moved by Councillor Yanch, seconded by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting, May 19th, 2026, moved by Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any errors, omissions, comments?
BS, not BS. It's showing BS. Other than that, it's fine. Well,
So we will, the motion then would be to adopt the minutes as amended. Well, call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
yes.
Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Olivier?
Yes.
Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Business arising from the minutes. Noted disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. None noted. First item on the agenda is 6.1 is Katie Mahan from KPMG reporting our 2025 audit findings and financial statements. So can you hear us, Katie?
I can. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can. So welcome today, and we will turn it over to you. Do you have your report going to be put on the line? Are you doing that, or she's doing it?
I believe I am. Give me 1 second here. I'll make sure I have access. All right. So we should see that pop up on the screen shortly.
Yes, it's there.
Here. All right. So thank you, everybody, for having me here today to present our audit findings report and give an update on the draft financial statements for the fiscal year December 31st, 2025. My name is Katie Mahan. I am the lead audit engagement partner for the Township's external audit. Have been working alongside Township staff, management for the last, I believe this is our 5th year, with KPMG being the external auditors. And before we get into the report, I do want to extend a sincere thanks and gratitude to management and staff for their help and support throughout the audit process. We did start the audit at the end of February, had some on-site field work, and then have worked through the audit to be able to present the financial statements and put together the report here today. I know it is it's an extra to do on staff and management's list to respond to all of our audit requests and get the books and records ready for audit. So thank you for your help, and wouldn't be able to do it, be here to present the findings without it. So as we open up to the report, I will just stop very briefly on our audit highlights page This is really our executive summary. The items that have the pink toggle beside them are where we have additional information in the report, and then the items with that black toggle mean no additional items to bring your attention to. So as we go through the report, we'll touch on all of these pink toggles. Starting with page number 5, which is the status of the audit. So as I mentioned, we did start the audit back in February. We are substantially complete. We were substantially complete really at the end of March, and then just had the last few weeks to kind of cross those T's, dot the I's. When we sent across the report, we were still waiting on a confirmation from the insurance provider just to ensure all claims were within coverage, and we have now received that back. So we received that back last Friday, and so that was the final kind of piece of the puzzle that we needed. And so pending our conversations here today and ultimate approval of the financial statements by council, we are in a position to finalize the financial statements. In terms of updates to our prior year audit plan, the good news is that there were no new accounting standards that were required to be adopted for fiscal 2025. And for audit standards, there was one audit standard to be adopted, but it really had minimal and a non-significant impact to the audit to adopt. So a very clean and smooth audit plan this year, very similar to what you would have seen last year. The new audit standard, and there is an appendice if you've had a chance to look through the report that gives a little bit more information. But what the new audit standard is it expanded the amount of communication that goes to those charged with governance, which in the township's case would be yourself as township council. And you'll see, if you've had a chance again to read through the report, it's a little bit lengthier this year. So we do include the full engagement letter. That is a new requirement to include in the year-end package, as well as some quality metrics and some other items. So really more informational in nature, nothing that is new or different to how we completed the audit, just a larger package that comes at the end for everyone to read through. Moving to the next page to speak to materiality. So materiality is one of the more important audit concepts. So as we go through the books and records, as we go through the audit process, we do not audit down to the dollar or down to the penny. We do set a level of materiality that guides our audit testing. How we set that is dictated by Canadian auditing standards. So for a not-for-profit or public sector entity like yourselves, anywhere from a 0.5 to a 3% range of either total expenses or revenues is the guideline and is deemed appropriate. So you can see up on the screen here, we have used total expenses as the benchmark. We do, however, also look to total revenues to make sure that they would be on site as well. And you can see we're around that kind of 2.5 percentage mark, which is right within those guidelines and very consistent for your peer group and the other audits that we do for municipalities, townships similar in size. One item I do want to highlight is we do refer to it as a group materiality. The reason for that is because the township financial statements does include the financial position and operations of the library. So because we have the township on its own, and then we have the library that gets consolidated in, we do look at the consolidated or the combined numbers there. And because of that consolidation, it is referred to as a group audit and therefore needing a group materiality. The last item I will just note on the materiality, so you can see there it's $180,000 for the year. That is the aggregate materiality. So that's the number at which point we would no longer be able to issue a clean opinion. The number that we audit to is a much smaller dollar number. So it is 5% of that total materiality number. That's the number that we use as we go through the books and records. If we see anything that looks different, we would bring it to management's attention and determine whether or not an adjustment needs to be made. And we'll see in a couple slides from here, we did make some adjustments. We did make a few corrections in the audit, but nothing that was anything unusual or anything significant that wasn't kind of a normal course of audit adjustment to make. I'm going to see actually if I can make this just a little bit bigger there for everyone to see. So up on the next 2 pages, we have the financial statement highlights. So this is a snippet or a screenshot out of your financial statements. The page that's up now is the balance sheet or the statement of financial position. And again, just touching on some of the highlights, noting that it was pre-circulated. I won't read through everything, but some highlights around the cash position. The cash position does remain to be quite strong. So both cash and investments together there about 10 million in the year. Taxes receivable. We always look at, and I know you've heard me say this the last few years, but your taxes receivable as a percentage of the total levy. It has decreased a little bit this year, and that was a direct result of management effort around collection, as well as bringing more properties to tax sale. It is hovering around that 21% mark. Typically, we do like to see 20% or just under is kind of the ultimate rule of thumb or guideline for where we would like to see it. And over COVID, we did see that percentage across the board climb well north of 20%. So to see yours kind of be right around that 20% mark, and then looking kind of in the next 2 to 3 years, hopefully bring it under that 20% target or goal is where I think both as auditors and management will be focusing on. From there, we have your liabilities. So from an accounts payable and accrued liabilities perspective, nothing significant or unusual to note there, really just timing around year end of when invoices come in and when they get paid. One of the items I did want to highlight was the asset retirement obligations. So that was the new standard that came in fiscal 2023 that replaced the solid waste and landfill disclosure. So that asset retirement obligations is primarily, majority anyways, the landfill closure and post-closure costs. So because we did have the one site closed during the year, those costs were incurred, and then that related obligation was removed from the balance sheet here. So that's the main reason why you see that dollar value drop about 400, just over 400,000 there. The other item we like to look at on your statement of financial position is your net financial assets. So that is your financial assets less your financial liabilities. So you can see it's at 4.8 million. One of the first things we look at is to make sure it is a positive, meaning that your financial assets do exceed your financial liabilities, noting that you have the assets there to satisfy those obligations and those liabilities. But then also like to look at it as a percentage of overall activity to ensure it is a good, healthy figure. Typically, we like to see it can cover anywhere from a 3 to 6 months of fixed operating costs there. Again, just noting kind of those short-term obligations. So from a financial health perspective, very happy with that net financial asset number, shows a strong financial position. And then from there, just rounding out the rest of the balance sheet, we have your capital assets. It is the single largest dollar line on your balance sheet there. The change every year is the total additions in the year, less any amortization taken, as well as any disposals. And we've listed out some of the larger dollar item additions on the side as well. Overall accumulated municipal equity is that 21.4 million. There is a note in the financial statements, note 14, which does break that down into your reserve and reserve funds. And then there is a schedule that then further breaks down to the individual reserve and reserve funds to look through as well. The next page speaks to your, here we go, statement of operations, or your income statement. So statement of operations is what an MPO calls it. This is where we have your revenue and your expenses. So again, without reading every line all the way down, you can see your revenue at the top there, the 8.7 million. We then reduce that against your expenses of the 7.1 million to give you an annual operating surplus from operations of the 1.6. From there, we bring in your capital activity, so your asset retirement obligations, if there was a gain or loss on your tangible capital assets, to give you your overall surplus for the year of the 1.4 million. That number is then added to your opening municipal equity to give you your ending municipal equity that we saw on the balance sheet there. We have some notes on the side there that explain some of the increases and decreases, but again, I won't read through it, but at the end of the report, happy to take any questions if there are any, or if there's any right now, we can pause as well on any of the numbers.
Any questions from anyone at this stage? Nope. Please proceed.
I'll continue on. The next slide here around risk assessment summary. So we do complete a risk-based audit. With a risk-based audit, one item that does come in for each and every audit in Canada is the top line here. It has the pink dot beside it, the check mark under fraud, and then the red significant level noted. So that was the prior year risk rating. We then complete the audit, determine if it needs to be changed in the current year. However, no changes for this year. The main reason for that, and again, you would have heard me say this in a previous year as well, but the management override of controls is a presumed fraud risk, meaning that those Canadian auditing standards that guide how we complete audits requires each and every audit in Canada to have a management override of controls flagged in the audit, assess it as a fraud risk, and assess it at a significant risk level. So that's nothing unique to your township. It's nothing unique to a KPMG audit. You'll see that across the board for all audits in Canada. The rationale for that is because when we build it in as a fraud risk and at the significant risk level, we are required to do certain procedures to address and mitigate it at that risk assessment level. And if we look to the next page here on page 12, it gives a little bit more of some detail on how we address that risk. So at a very high level, we get the full general ledger for the year. We run it through a software program that is based on some high risk criteria that we enter, and it generates a sample. That sample then is vouched back to supporting documentation to make sure everything looks as it should. And certainly the takeaway for today is the very last sentence on the screen there, no findings to report. I will maybe just add one thing to management override of controls, because it's been a question I've actually got twice this year, which I think is a great question, around the criteria that we use, whether or not it changes each year. So we do run two criteria, one that remains the same and we don't disclose it, and then one that we do change each year just to make sure it's fresh, and we are always making sure that the audit is being updated and not just testing the same items every year. From there, the rest of the report is really more housekeeping in nature. So we have this slide here that speaks to audit misstatements. So everything that we did come across in the audit, and as I mentioned, it was all very kind of your standard typical, audit adjustments. We did book and correct those adjustments. We did not leave anything uncorrected. So as the adjustments came up, everything was recorded, and the financial statements have those numbers fully incorporated in. From a control perspective, we are required to get a thorough understanding of the internal control environment. To the extent we had noted any significant deficiencies, we are required to bring them to your attention. However, happy to note no significant deficiencies were noted. We did note what we refer to as other observations, which are more either efficiency points or process improvement points, best practices, if you will. So to the extent we had noted some of those, we did have a conversation with management, but certainly nothing that rose to a deficiency level to disclose today. As I mentioned, there were no new accounting standards. So in terms of the notes to the financial statements, aside from the numbers being updated, the notes are substantially the same as what you would have seen in previous years. The only other item to note on this screen, the other financial reporting matters and the policies and the practices, is a new standard that will come in for year ends after April 1, 2026, which means it will impact your fiscal 2027 year. So it won't be impacting your 2026 year, but will come in for 2027, is a new standard around the financial statement presentation and concepts. So the math of how everything is put together doesn't change, but the format and content will look a little bit different. So your current balance sheet is it's going to be likely one of the more significant visual changes. Currently, we don't separate out a current versus a non-current portion. Under this new standard, that will be a new concept that comes into play. So again, from a math perspective, nothing is changing in calculation, just form and content will change in 2027. And then after that, we have one page around specific topics. On the right-hand side there, you can see nothing of note, so I won't go through them. And then the next page around independence, to the extent we completed any non-audit services that were not permissible, we would report and disclose them. However, happy to note nothing of that sort. And then we're into the appendices, which are really more informational in nature. So aside from one page, I won't go through them, and it is Appendix 1A. I just wanted to put it up here. So this is a copy. This is a carbon copy of exactly what's in your draft financial statements, but it's a copy of our auditor's report, just to highlight that it is a clean opinion. I was told also by someone only a week and a half ago that we should move this to the first page, not an appendix, just to really highlight that it is a clean opinion. So I wanted to just make sure I touched on it, that it is unfortunately buried in Appendix 1A, but it is in there if you wanted to take a read through. And so with that, I'll stop. I'll also stop sharing my screen so I can see everyone a little bit better. And I'll see if there's any questions.
Yes, anyone have any questions for Katie? I have, oh, okay, I have one question. Katie, and it's around taxes receivable in the audits that you're doing. Well, first of all, I know that we're all well aware our staff have been working diligently on that, and they have been probably every year. It's always a challenge, but in sparsely populated rural municipalities like ours, where do we sort of sit in that pack based on your knowledge of what's other municipalities?
Yep, that's a great question. So based on the municipalities we audit out of our Kingston office, which are kind of high 30s, so we do a good chunk of municipalities, and most are more rural in nature. I would say you're right around middle of the pack. So you're certainly not in the high end. Especially over COVID, we used to see 17 to 18% was probably the average, but then over COVID, that really did go up to about 25%. So now we're seeing kind of slowly, it kind of trickle down, and 20% is definitely the average. So, I mean, at 21%, you're right there in middle of the pack.
Thank you. And I believe Deputy Folk has a question. You can go ahead.
Yes, I had on the report on page 9, it lists our financial assets and investments, note 3. I couldn't find a note 3, but what are our financial investments? It's like there's 2 million.
Yep. So on note 3, it refers to the full set of financial statements.
Okay.
And I'll just share my screen really quickly here, the draft statements, make it also a bit larger. So note 3 refers to the full set of financial statements for more information, and it is your Canadian bonds there. So, and they were new last year. So 2024 was the first year that the cash was transferred into the investments, and 2025 being the second year there. So very liquid, very low risk.
Is there a rate of return there? Do we know what the rate of return was in the last year?
I don't have it handy, but we do have the total interest disclosed of about 200. So over the balance, fast math there, just under, I should use my calculator, but just under 10% there, if you just look at interest.
So you're saying just under 10%?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
They say CA because it stands for can't add. So let me do a quick 201
Okay.
over an average balance. Yeah, just 9%.
That's a pretty good return for bonds. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Just a closing comment on that. Certainly thank you for the work that your company's done on helping us or going through this audit with us. And certainly the clean audit is a credit to our management staff and all of our staff and how they manage our township. So, which is great. They have to take the credit for that for sure. No other questions. Then there is just before we'll finish off here before we say goodbye to you, Katie. So we have a draft resolution. And I guess there's be nothing amended. So essentially to approve the financial statements as received. Moved by Councillor Yant, seconded by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes,
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
And Councillor Yant.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Thank you. And thank you, Katie, for being with us today. and
Thank you,
presenting
everybody.
Yep.
Enjoy
Take
the rest
care.
of your meeting.
Thank you. So move on to item 771 is under matters for considerations, the Tay Havelock Trail, the section at Addington Highlands, and there is a report in there. And there's also a draft resolution. Some of you all read it. I'm not going to go through that entire report. Does anyone have any questions on the report? Okay, I'll have a couple comments later, but as far, I think the recommendation in here is, yeah, it's all one recommendation, right? Yeah. Yes. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so we also attached, well, this idea of a one pass system has been on trails, has been floated around and looked at, and EOTA has been involved in developing a strategy or a kind of a plan for one because they got some funding a number of years ago to do that. So in discussion with the EOTA, we determined that we would prepare a resolution supporting this, and that's what's being presented as well. So any questions on, I don't know if there's any questions on that. So if there's no questions, we have a recommendation here to receive the report and that the attached resolution to support the one pass trail system proposal be approved. Moved by Councillor Levier, seconded by Deputy Hook. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
yes,
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
and Councillor Yanch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Now, I wanted to add one thing to it. There's still some ongoing discussion between the Frontenac ATV Club and EOTA regarding an agreement between the two of those organizations for use of the Tay Havelock Trail. In separately, both in Central Frontenac and then the section in Addington Highlands hasn't been discussed in detail yet. I won't go into it public. There's some evolving discussions going on there right now. And so, I guess to try to ensure that we have the ability to keep these two organizations, I guess, working towards a resolution. How else can I say it? That I'm asking that we would have a resolution, and I just read it roughly here. It would say that that we would provide, that council provides the Reeve with authority to broker a meeting with EOTA and FATVC, which is the Frontenac ATV Club, if required, to determine a mutually agreeable path forward to resolve this issue. Very political way of saying it. We just want to be sure that it's still festering. I can't say it any other way, and there's no final agreement. And one way or another, we want to be sure they work together to have an agreement and not let it just ratchet continue, further on year after year. So I'm looking for council support to have that. Moved by Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Yantch. Any questions on that? Deputy Hook?
So the township would more or less be acting as a mediator between the two?
That's the intent.
Okay. I think that certainly yourself and Councillor Leveille has done a lot of work in this and staff, so I think it'll be great
Yeah.
if something came out of that meeting
Yes.
and brought the two groups together and
Yeah.
end this. Because it doesn't seem to be any kind of solution on their own, right?
No, and there's been some developments between Frontenac ATV Club and EOTA on an agreement for the portion in Central Frontenac. All I can say, there's just a few issues with that yet, and that have to be worked through. So I want to be sure that we don't controlling that. We're not involved in that one directly, but how that works its way out, we want to be sure that that works its way out through in Addington Highlands as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. No, any other questions? So you got the wording okay, Christine, with that? Yep. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yantch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Next item 7.2 is a 2026 draft final newsletter. So you want to speak to it, Christine, please?
I can, thank you. I don't have a lot to add. We had a lot of information that we were trying to fit in here. We had our Lake Health Working Group. They had provided us with some information to include, and I think Kayla did a really good job of including that in there. We also had a request from the county just to speak a little bit on Next Generation 911 and how that's going to roll out. And then, of course, we want to focus a little bit on the election and making sure that your name is on the voters list, as well as encouraging people to submit their nominations if they so choose to run. So it's being provided to council just for review. And if there's anything that council would like to see in the newsletter that we haven't included, we will definitely try to make that work in the little space that's left.
Thanks, Christine. Any comments on the news? Go ahead.
I think this is great. It looks great. I think I can't think of anything else that I could see that I could add. I did have one question about the pre-authorized debit. That's a little vague to me exactly how that works. Maybe we could explain it.
Sure. So those property owners whose account is in good standing, meaning they don't have a balance owing, can register with the municipality that we would take out on the 15th of every month, the monthly payment toward your taxes. So your taxes are then spread out over 12 equal payments,
Okay.
as opposed to doing the 4 installments.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. And people can always contact the municipal office if they need more information with respect to how that works.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No, I don't see any. Yeah, newsletter, the draft looks great. So thank you. So we'll, there's a resolution in here to that the draft final newsletter be received and approved. Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Move on to item 7.3, the Mazenod Lake Swim Program, a request for donation. And yes. You have a
Motion to
question?
approve this request of $500 for the Mazenod Lake Swim Program. And I know that we've had it in our budget, so I will make that motion.
Okay, you have a mover. Thank you. Second by Councillor Olivier. Any comments, questions? Okay. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Item 7.4, Participation Community Challenge. And there's an email in here from the organization about getting involved. And there also is a recommendation, it looks like a staff recommendation, that this invitation be received and that it be circulated to North Huntington Education Center and other local organizations. Were there any comments from staff, Christine or Patricia?
Thank you. Yes, I included a recommendation to provide it to the school and other organizations since municipality does not run any recreational activities, and figured that would be the best way to get the information out there. And then if anyone is interested in participating, they could reach out to the organization.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Okay, so there's a recommendation. We have a motion. In fact, Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Olivier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier
Yes.
and Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Item 7.4 is a resolution from the Township of Baldwin. Seek support for the resolution calling upon the province of Ontario to conduct immediate release of the OPP municipal policing billing model and the policing funding structure for unorganized territories. Essentially, if you read it in there, they're suggesting that unorganized territories are not paying their fair share. So what are your wishes?
Make a motion to receive and support.
We have a mover to receive, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Yench. Any comments? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Item 7.6. Resolution from the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus seeks support for their resolution calling on the Provincial Ministry of Health to take immediate action to reduce ER wait times. And then there's a lot of other detail in there. How else can I describe it?
I think all this is great if it could happen, but it's quite a wish list, but I'll certainly receive and support.
Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Deputy Hook. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier. Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. And item 7.7 is a resolution from the Corporation of County of Prince Edward seeks endorsement for their resolution on the feasibility of implementing a vacant commercial storefront tax. Essentially, they want an additional levy on vacant commercial storefront property. They want it used. What are your wishes? Councillor Yench.
Motion to receive.
Motion received.
I'll second that. I think if the storefront is empty, it's empty for a reason. I mean, you can't force somebody to run a business. And if you own storefront property, you're paying a lot of taxes anyways in a town. So I say that to put another tax in front of that would be just absurd. Yes.
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 I make a motion to receive and support. Yes.
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 I think the county of Prince Edward is busy writing resolutions. This must be resolution writing month. So this is the third one. I would vote to, or make a motion that we receive this. We don't have a heritage policy in our municipality, so I just motion to receive.
Yes.
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 I better start over. Unless you're all good at reading lips. So the town of, if you're in the room, you might be able to read them, but if you're watching online, you're not. So the town of Flinton, Wyoming seeks endorsement for their resolution respectfully calling upon the province of Ontario to transition the current practice of competitive provincial fire service grant programs into a permanent and predictable non-competitive provincial funding program. Because I know we often have to apply for those, so, and it is competitive, where probably every fire department needs the funding, so what's your wishes?
Motion to receive and support.
Moved by Deputy Hook, second by Councillor Yance. Any other comments? No. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Resolution, item 711, resolution for the municipality of Morris Turnberry seeks support for their resolution strongly opposing the consolidation of conservation authorities in Ontario. And yes, that's just the general drift of what they're asking for. What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to receive, but I think this is already all done, so it's redundant, so.
We have a motion to receive, seconded by Councillor Yance. Any other comments? See you call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Now we're on to item 7. 12, from the counties of Leeds and Grenville seeking support of their resolution supporting the Municipal Engineers Association position regarding province's proposed harmonization of municipal road construction standards. And they go on to explain the rest. What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to receive and support.
Moved by Councillor Yance to receive and support.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Thompson.
Just like, Brett, do you know anything about this? Like, you got any feedback on that?
I don't have a lot right at the moment. I mean, I could get back to you with some information
No,
if you wish.
I'm just wondering like,
Yeah.
what the whole idea was.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's probably similar to the building code where they're trying to consolidate stuff, so it's similar across the.
Yeah, okay, good,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Item 713 is a resolution from the Township of Amore seeking support for their resolution calling on Government of Ontario and Government of Canada to prioritize the development of new and upgraded highway rest stops and traveler infrastructure along Highways 11 and Highway 17 across Northern Ontario. Councillor Yance.
Motion to receive and support.
Mover and by, seconded by Councillor Levier. Certainly no one can argue that they wouldn't like to have more rest stops in those highways.
Yes, I think not just the north, I said it'd be nice for all of Ontario to have more rest stops.
Yeah. That's for sure. Okay, we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
And Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion is carried. And item 714 is a resolution from the municipality of Kelvin. And this relates to asking for a review of policies, legislation, and regulations governing the use of current value assessment and weighted assessment. Without going into the rest of the detail, and can you, is there a way for you, Christine, can you provide a very brief summary of that, or, because I don't know if we all understand it. I understand it mostly, but not enough to start describing it. I put you on the spot.
A little,
But if you can't, we can just defer this.
but that's okay. It might be better to defer it, and then I'll be able to give council a more wholesome
Yeah.
Response.
That's
And then
great.
you're not making a decision based on misinformation.
Yeah, I should have warned you in advance. So can we just have I think we should have a motion to defer that to a future meeting, so. Moved by Councillor Levier, seconded by Councillor Thompson. We'll call the vote to Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yep.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
No. Yes.
I guess Councillor Yance wants an answer right now. Anyway. That motion
Yes,
is
it
carried,
is.
and that motion's carried. Okay. Moving along, item 715 is a declaration of proclamation around National Dental Care Day. And I don't know if we have a policy, but I know historically we do not make declarations. So we would just need a motion to receive this. Moved by Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Levier. Call the vote, Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
And Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Thank you. Move on to section 8, matters for information. First of all, can we have a motion to receive all matters? Moved by Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Yance. Is there anything anyone wants to bring out? Councillor Yance? Yes.
It might have been helpful to have that
Yeah.
2 months ago when we were navigating through that. I completely agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And just a comment on item 8.1 Lions Club of Land Lakes, because I've seen they're inviting us, and I know a number of members of council are going there, and I'm going to attend as well. So forward to that event. Anything else anyone wants to bring out? If not, we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Reports of committees and boards. We work our way down through there. Actually, on 9.6, the East Lennox and Addington OPP Detachment Board. There was a meeting last week, May 28th at Flinton. I'm going to take just 2 minutes. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just a couple highlights, if that's Okay. Just a couple statistics that kind of stood out because they present at the meeting the first quarter this year, January to March report on some statistics was presented. Generally, everything is trending, I wouldn't say normal here, nothing to make would be alarming, but two things stood out. One was category of other offenses, which involves violence or the threat of violence. It includes intimate partner violence as well. If you look back, this is the first quarter. In 2024, we had 7 incidents in Addington Highlands. 2025, we had 12. So that was up substantially in the first 3 months. In 2026, we had 23. So that stood out, and I know I asked some questions at that. Wasn't the detachment commander for the gentleman's position, but the OPP management person that was there did highlight this as well. I did ask a question at the meeting. So what's that mean? He said, his response was, we're living in a more violent world and it's getting more and more violent. And he said a lot of it is, there's a lot of it at home and a lot of it between neighbors and things like this. So how you address that, it's a societal issue here, so I won't go into that much further. The other one that stood out in a positive way was fraud. There's different types of fraud, both online and other ways, bad deals that people make or get taken advantage of. In the first quarter in Addington Highlands, 2024, we had we had 16 incidents. And last year we had, in the first quarter, 31, almost double. And this year we're back to 19, and which is a good trend because I know last year it was certainly was a little alarming. OPP can't really explain that. One, I guess, explanation from them is that the downward trend this year so far. There has been quite an effort from them, and you see a lot of organizations, you see it online, you see it everywhere, to raise awareness of fraud and how to not be taken advantage of it, especially online fraud. So any one of us sit at a workstation, we know the problems that they're there. Yes, go ahead, David.
At a spring leadership convention that I was involved in, it was brought to our attention that AI will exponentially increase online fraud. So we were all alarmed, I think, to learn some of the aspect, as we had a presenter there that went through the different forms of AI and as it evolves, and when it starts to learn for itself, it's becoming a very dangerous kind of exploitation. So it goes along with what you mentioned, Mr. Reeve, about fraud and online. We have to be extremely careful now.
Thank you, David. That's a really interesting comment. Yeah, appreciate that, because I guess I would suppose that AI, because fraud typically is a person processing, I guess, that intelligence in the plan. And then now if you have it being artificially developed, it could throw a different, higher level, more detailed level of intelligence into it. Yes, Deputy Folk?
Just a comment. I think all of us are seeing more in our emails, phishing emails and emails that appear to be from our banks or banks that we don't even deal with, which are just totally bogus. And even the telephone calls, at any time of day or night, that are asking for money or say they are your bank, and it's just too bad. But that, as Dave's saying, it's a sign of the times. And just a comment against the violence. I know Land O'Lakes Community Services runs a very busy violence against women program. And when I see those big increases like that, I almost think some of it has to do with financial situations. When families are stressed financially, things start to break down. So there's just no end in sight on that either. So.
Lots of challenges for our society, yes. Yeah, and you were talking about, when you're at your workstation, it's definitely getting worse. And with a lot more intelligence into what people are doing, yeah. What a waste, honestly, what a waste of everyone across our country. What a waste of their time dealing with that stuff at your workstation. So I don't know how it works in the township at your township workstation, whether you see the township staff just get hammered with this stuff too? Or is it filtered out better or not?
I don't find we get many, but the ones that we do get, I know we circulate them before we even touch them. You circulate it around the office and that's the conversation. Okay, does this look legit? Is it not legit? Because they are very intelligent and very crafty and they honestly look like they are something that's legitimate. So we do take time to investigate that, but there's not a lot of instances of them. No.
Thank you. Just one other comment from the detachment board meeting is the OPP has a 2026-29 strategic plan and an action plan, a bunch of tables where they have listed, their commitments, the actions and the outcomes they're looking for. So one thing that certainly all of them kind of interest me and would interest you, and if you want copies of this, gladly circulate it, is one action they're doing, and you're seeing that in some stuff. You'll start to see more of it. I'll just read it. It's a planned and deliberate community contact by frontline members on a regular basis. Increased interactions and patrol beyond calls for service that support positive public perception and community safety. What it really means is getting the officers out of the cars and onto the streets and talking with the people in our community, which is certainly something we have been pushing for, and obviously many other municipalities have been pushing for. So that's a topic of discussion at the detachment board meetings. And I think we'll see a lot more discussion of that down the road, and hopefully it'll produce a better relationship between the OPP and our community in general, and maybe a better use of the money we pay for our OPP policing, because it's pretty significant. That's what I want to report on that one today. There's no questions. I just asked for a motion to just receive that verbal report. Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
That motion's carried. Library board, anything, or joint fire committee? Okay, we'll move on to section 10, reports of officers. The first one on there is 10.11, roads and waste update, and it's over to you, Brett.
Thank you. I guess we'll start with the roads department. Most of the blow-off sweeping's complete and the pickup sweeping has started. So we're working our way through to get things done that way with our sweeping. We had some granular placement on Clark Line Road done, and it's nearly completed. We also did some berm retrieval and some grading on some different roads. Other grading's being completed as necessary, and we'll continue to do that. As far as the waste sites, the use continues to ramp up as spring cleanup occurs, and people come back to their cottages. One thing I wanted to note there, and you'll see in my report, we did have a couple of break-ins at the Caldar waste site. So the police were notified, and I just wanted to make you guys, or you folks, aware that this is happening. Seems to be a summertime thing that happens, not as much in the winter, but it is happening in the summertime at some waste sites. So
What would they be trying to get from the waste site?
it's various things. Like the one time they broke into everything down there. So anything that was locked became busted or whatever. even the clothing bin, they'll go into the clothing bin there that's for diabetes. They'll go through our construction waste bins, make a mess out of stuff out of that, scrap metal. Anything, anything that's there is something that they'll look into or rummage through and make a mess of. They do take some stuff.
Yes. Yeah, any other questions or comments for Brett? Deputy Hook?
I noticed driving into Flinton, there's still quite a bit of sand on the streets of Flinton. I didn't know if that was because of the bad winter. We put more sand on, and it's more difficult to get off. And just wondered if anybody else noticed that. Are you getting any comments?
Yeah, we're getting some, there's, I guess, Christine received one comment about the sand in Flinton. We did, I think the concern was that we did the county road and we hadn't done the Flinton streets yet. So it's going to be done this week. So in the streets of Flinton, and we're just working our way north to get the pickup sweeping done.
So it hasn't been done yet.
Not in,
Oh,
not in
okay.
Flinton, so.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Brett, on the Denby culverts. So we have one more meeting in June, and then we end up with this summertime where we have less frequent meetings. So do you have I know I sound like a broken record. Do you have an idea when something will come to council to make a decision so we take advantage of those meetings? I guess we don't end up with a long stretch of where you can't make a decision.
Yeah, I guess I can update you as far as that goes. The boreholes were done. You guys are aware of that. So they're working on initial design. They're waiting on their hydrology report, I guess, is the best way to put it. And we'll go from there. I'll give them a little push, I guess, to try and make sure that they know what our meeting schedule is and so we can get things done. So
That would be appreciated, just so we don't, end up with unnecessary hold up on our end. Yeah, because of when they provide the information to us. Thanks. Any other questions? Then I have a motion to receive Brett's report. Moved by Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Yantch. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Move on to 10.12, the calcium chloride RFQ, and Brett.
yeah, so we put a calcium chloride RFQ out on Bid and Go May 7th. This site notifies potential bidders and is open to public for viewing. It was also posted on our website. The RFQ closed 21st of May. We had one bidder. The comparison is there. It's approximately 10.7 increase or 10.8% increase from 2025. Although this is a substantial amount, it's been covered in our budget item. And with the price of fuel this year, that's the majority of your cost is driving around the roads. And so I would presume that would be the biggest portion of the increase. So I'm recommended that council receives their support and gives me an idea how they want to proceed with it. So
Do we have questions for Brett? So what do you want to, there's a recommendation here that we receive it and Brett's looking for approval. Yes, moved by Deputy Hook.
Yep.
Seconded by Councillor Levier, call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. And we move on right to the item 10.13, extension of the contract for consulting services.
yeah, back in March of 2023, the township put out an RFP for consulting services related to the environmental monitoring and reporting for our waste sites. There was a 4-year term with 2 one-year options to extend. Our current consultant, Greer Galloway, has performed well and been willing to help with any work that required their services. We haven't had any issues reported by MOE, and our expectations have been met. So, kind of recommending that council extend our contract with Greer and Galloway for 2027. Now you'll see what the financial impact is in the document that was attached. So it's actually a little bit less than what it would be for this year, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yes, so the information's there for council. There is a recommendation from Brett. What would council want to do? Councillor Yance?
I'll make that recommendation that we go ahead.
Okay,
Mhm.
motion to receive the report and approve.
Mhm.
Seconded by Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook,
Yes,
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Sorry, Deputy Hook.
just a question. So in 2023, we had a 4-year term.
Mhm.
So wouldn't that not take us into 2027?
2023, it was advertised, so it's
23,
24,
24,
23, 24, 25, and 26. So we're just getting prepared for 27.
So it's just a
sorry.
1-year term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item 10.14. Brush A gravel on the board 1.
I guess last year we allowed for some money to put up some A gravel in Ward 1. We thought we were going to use more than we did in 2025. So when we didn't bother expending the funds. They were carried over to this year, and we advertised a tender here for A gravel. The total amount budgeted was around $180,000 for between all the gravel in both wards. So we advertised it on Bid and Go May 13th, and it closed May 28th. One bid was received from Gemmell Sand and Gravel, and the pricing was $12 a ton. Our last time that we put up gravel was 2022 in Ward 1, and the pricing at that time was $9.25 a ton. It's a significant increase in the price per ton, but again, with fuel being the way it is now, and as well as other increases, our budget pricing would allow for us to put up 10,000 a ton, or 10,000 ton, which is what the tender amount was. So I was recommending that council receive this report and awards the contract to Gemmell Sand and Gravel.
We have any questions for Brett? Deputy Hook?
Well, I don't have a problem with the quote, but I'm just wondering if there's any way that we could get more responses for the RFQ. So we've got the last 2, we're only getting 1 response through Bid and Go. Is everybody using Bid and Go? Or is there other ways that we could reach out and get, better prices or more prices, which would give us some more selection?
Yeah. The one thing I do when I do the Bid and Go pricing is I do email. You can select that you email it directly to others, people that I know in the area that could be interested. So our local contractors, I make sure they get a copy of the contracts. There are other options for advertising. There's a bids and tenders one. I can investigate that further. Maybe there is another option that we should be considering for advertising. There's not as many local papers anymore that is tough to put out, but by emailing the local contractors that I know of directly to, I hope that I get those people interested. If they're not interested, I guess I can't force them to participate. But
I
Go
just
ahead.
find it kind of odd that, there's other, I mean, we used to do a lot of business with Danforth and they're not even responding anymore.
while they will in this area, they don't tend to go to Denby as much, right?
Oh, okay,
So,
Right.
yeah.
okay.
So
ahead.
where is this pit located that we're going to be using?
I believe they were considering using one off of Mattawatchin Road, so. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I had a question too. That was one question, but you've answered it. Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Are you going to crush the full amount? Is that your plan?
That would be my intention. It'll last us a couple of years and then we'll have it there for the.
Okay. Thanks, Brett. Any other questions? Okay, so Brett read that. We have a draft recommended resolution. Moved by Councillor Olivier. Seconder, Councillor Yantch. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yeah.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
That motion's carried. I just had an anecdotal comment on the calcium chloride one and the crushed gravel one. It's just some more evidence that we are going to continue to be challenged financially because cost of stuff is going up substantially, and another 10 months from now or so, we'll be talking budget again, whoever's sitting around the table, and we will have significant challenges next year, likely. So let's move on to section 10. The first one's 10.2.1, a CBO report for May 2026. David.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. CBO report for May. Building applications are beginning to pick up. I've had 4 new homes that will be permits that will be issued by week's end. Nice to see. Also noted, we don't have development fees here, so it makes it very attractive. Got a building inspector that likes working with people, so yes, great place to build. Enjoy. And inspections of projects continue to make up for a very busy season. On the facilities management side, roof repairs at the Flinton Hall roof here have been completed. This was due to damage caused by snow guards being dislocated as a result of the heavy snow loading. Vent piping also was broken, and we had plumbers in and restored that. Flooring in Denby Hall is complete. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at it. I think it looks pretty good, really good actually. And bleachers at Flinton Hall here, outside here, please have a look at it. Have been refurbished with all new PT lumber, thanks to the grounds crew who worked tirelessly to complete. Bathrooms at the outdoor canteen at Flinton here have been spruced up with a new coat of paint as well. I don't know if anybody was coming by Northbrook Medical Center there today, but TD Seal came in over the weekend and sealed the pavement area and then painted new lines. Handicapped did an excellent job. Again, we're always seemed to be someone Saturday night came in after they had it all prepped for Sunday morning's line painting and got in there with a 4-wheeler and threw gravel all over everything that they had just prepped. So seems to be an ongoing issue with a lot of vandalism lately, which is, very concerning. Walsh Fencing has been awarded contract to install fencing at Northbrook Fire Hall and fence repairs at Heritage Park in Denby. That project will be completed in July. Groundskeepers, hard at work. Also to report, McClellan's we have a water purification system that was mentioned in our annual budget. That work has been completed at the Addington Highlands Community Center, so it had not been updated since the municipality bought the school from the school board. So this is the first major update, and we were starting to get a lot of calls. And McClellan's noted to us last fall that it seemed to be they were up there more often than they should be, and we should be looking at it. So that was in the budget. So the water purification system has been revamped, brought up to today's standards, should work more efficiently. I know our Reeve, bless his heart, is often over at the Act cleaning UV lights. Hopefully that's not as quite as necessary as it used to be, and we get emergency lighting, or we get emergency notification through the UV system. It would shut down. We'd have to unplug it. Tony would go over and look after it, and hopefully that takes some of the workload away from our Reeve. Playground inspections are all in. We have a 90% compliance rate on our playground inspections. Now those playground inspection reports have been handed over to our handyman, and he will make all the necessary little changes and fixes to bring those up to 100% compliance, hopefully. Now we have had, I sent our handyman down to the landfill site here in Kelladar. Yeah, there was a door busted off. Handyman put that back together for us. And roofing situation. Now, this was mentioned to me in the wintertime, and it was a miss on my part. There was a leak at the Northbrook Medical Center there in the wintertime. And when I was in looking at the TD seal situation there yesterday, I drove in around behind the pharmacy, and a lot of the shingles are just curled right up, starting to peel off on the east side. So that we've done that building in about 3 different sections. 2 or 3 years ago, a company came in and did the west side facing the highway. The north side had been done somewhat by a previous contractor prior to that. And now I'm noticing that backside there is very, very bad. And the director back at the Northbrook Medical Center said there was a quite a severe leak there. It was almost to the point of ruining computer equipment there in the wintertime. And I apologize, it slipped my mind. So I've got, I've reached out, and I've got 3 quotes coming in to replace, I would say, and I think this would complete it, probably 120, 130 feet of shingles on the east side of the Northbrook Medical Center. I think that roof's about 22 feet wide. So you've got a strip there, 120 by 22. So, yeah, so that's what I've been working on facilities wise. Bylaw enforcement, dog issues continue to be a problem with severe several dog incidences being reported. Now, every so often I go out with our animal control bylaw officer just to kind of reinforce the idea that, hey, we're not fooling around. And I've had a couple of those this month where both of us approached dog owners who seem to think that the bylaws don't apply to them. They do. And warn that the next time it happens, animal control will pick up their dog. No question about it. Animal control bylaw officer did pick up a very large pig, Highway 41, south of Kelladar. And so it was picked up. It was running the highway. And that is just, you know, an accident waiting to happen when it's out there, you know, walking up and down the side of the road. So our animal control bylaw officer went up. He coached him into the trailer there somehow. So I smell bacon in the air. Anyway, that's the end of my bylaw report and the end of my report. Any questions?
Yeah, well, it's hard to speak when you talk about a big pig on the road because, yeah. Anyway, any questions for Dave? Go ahead.
As a cyclist, I've had too many bad experiences with dogs. In fact, I had one last week, not in this township, but a different township. You mentioned that on the second warning, you say the animal control officer will pick up the dog. What happens next?
The dog is then usually taken to our animal control's pound keeper facilities, where the person who owns a dog, and Christine can better attest to this, has 72 hours to respond. And after that 72 hours, I believe the dog can then be taken out of the area to a different pound. Am I close?
Christine.
You're almost there. So you're correct that our animal control officer will hold the dog for a period of 72 hours, at which time the property or the dog owner can come and redeem the dog, paying the appropriate fees. If it goes beyond the 72 hours, then our animal control officer rehomes that dog to an appropriate location, whether that's quite often he's taken them to other, I don't want to call them shelters, but they're, oh, the words escaped me. A lot of,
Animal shelters or
yeah, not shelters, but rescues for, not species of dogs, breeds of dogs. Oh, my land. There's a few breeds of dogs out there that are very difficult to rehome. And so in those cases, there are rescues that are out there that will take those animals, but they are rehomed. Sometimes it takes a long time, which you'll see costs associated with keeping those dogs for a while in the monthly animal control invoice, but that's what happens to them. Did that help?
Councillor Yance, go ahead.
Yes, yes, I found that information very helpful. I'm just wondering, why wouldn't you just, if you see a dog at large running around on the road, why wouldn't you just call the dog catcher to start with? And that's the way it is, you know?
that happens on occasion, yes. You know, if it's out of working hours, oftentimes our animal control officers' information is there online, and they can make a direct call, and our animal control officer will come down. Now, a lot of times when I myself and the animal control by officer go out, it's a situation where somebody has called in a complaint. I've registered, they filed the complaint, I've registered it. And then I make a call to our animal control bylaw officer, and I mention the fact that we've got a dog situation on our hands. How do you want to handle this? Maybe we should go out and let the owner very specifically know this is the situation, cause and effect. If that dog goes out again and, you know, we catch it loose, oftentimes when the animal control bylaw officer and I will be there, the dog will be contained. So that's the time of informing the owner, hey, this happens again, there won't be a second time I will go out with the animal control bylaw officer. He'll just go out. I'll say, you know, got the same incident, pick him up. Done deal.
Christine has a comment.
Just to add to that, quite often Kevin does get calls outside of office hours. His number is right on the township website and he responds pretty much immediately. Unfortunately, he does live outside of the area, so sometimes it does take him 30, 40 minutes to get here. And if the dog is still at large, he would pick that dog up. There would be no second chance at that point. It's those complaints that come in through the website or where they don't connect with that animal control officer directly. Those ones are the ones that quite often the two staff would go out and say, look, this is what's happened. This is the complaint. If it continues to happen and it's caught outside of your yard, this is the consequences. But if they catch it outside of their yard, then there wouldn't be a second chance.
Councillor Thompson?
So they don't go to doggy heaven then?
What's that?
They do not.
They don't go to doggy heaven? No? Good.
No. Without saying too much, our current animal control officer does not condone that. It would have to be an extenuating circumstance in that the dog is not safe to be around other people, but every effort is made to
I
get
think
get an appropriate home.
I think our animal control bio officer is, almost 100% compliance with rehoming these animals.
Any other questions for David? No. I had one comment. It sort of relates to something Brett's doing, and it relates to our playgrounds. Is that work? It will be done in the near future. The final work at I don't think Northbrook, the additional playgrounds needs extra work, but the two in Denby, the one down in the park needs a little bit of landscaping, so to speak, minor. The one at the community center in Denby needs little bit more work. So there has been a meeting between staff and on site just yesterday, I guess. And plans will be in place just for that final landscaping. So that'll occur in the near future whenever Brett fits it into the work program.
Was that not where there were a couple of memorial benches going in?
Yeah, so the Denby Griffin Lions Club has already fabricated a couple benches. Moles and Councillor Levier is involved, and yes, the benches are there, and once they're finished, volunteers will put the benches in place. Okay, so we have no other questions. So we have a motion to receive report moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Fook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. We move on to item 10.3.1, external auditing services. And Christine?
Thank you. So further to Katie's presentation earlier in the meeting, 2020 fiscal year 2025 represents the last year in our current contract with KPMG. So to give a bit of background information to council, on July 28th, 2021, council issued a request for proposal for external audit services. The RFP was circulated to 5 firms, with one submitting a proposal. So it kind of goes on that theme that the manager of Roads and Waste spoke on. In September of 2021, KPMG was appointed by bylaw as the municipal auditor for 2021 through to 2025 fiscal years. As the audit for 2025 draws to a close, it is necessary for council to begin the process of appointing an auditor. The options for moving forward are to issue another request for proposal for external audit services, or to request KPMG to provide a proposal for auditing services for the next 2 fiscal years, being 2026 and 2027. Unlike the consulting RFP that we issued for environmental services, this clause wasn't built into the initial RFP. When we do decide to go out for an RFP, we'll ensure to include that in subsequent ones, but it was not in 2021. So issuing an RFP ensures that the township is obtaining the service at a competitive price and provides for accountability and transparency to the public. However, renewing the contract with KPMG for an additional 2 years ensures continuity and familiarity. The township's purchasing policy defines qualified suppliers, including auditors, as suppliers of goods and services of a specified nature, which, due to the nature of the goods and services, makes it impractical and inefficient to change suppliers frequently. The option to extend the existing arrangement would still require a cross-cost proposal, which offers the accountability and transparency to the public while achieving continuity and efficiency. So staff is recommending to go back to KPMG to get a proposal from them on a cost for the next 2 fiscal years. I did have a discussion with Katie as all of this was coming to a close, just to get a sense of what other municipalities do and how often they go out for RFP. And she did say that typically it's every 10 years or so. Prior to KPMG being the auditor, we had Secker, Ross and Perry. I started here in 2007, and they were the auditors when I started. So they were here for a very long tenure. I'm not suggesting that we go that long, but I am suggesting that a couple of years of extension or a couple of terms of extension would be consistent with the practice that's currently being done in other municipalities.
Thank you, Christine, for the overview. Any questions for Christine? None. So we have a recommendation for a resolution here. Does we have a movement? Moved by Deputy Hook, seconded by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
And Councillor Yance?
Yes.
The motion is carried. Anything from? No, I don't think there's anything from Deputy Clerk, Planning Secretary, or Deputy Treasurer, or Fire Chief. Reports of appointees. None. Any resolutions? None. Item 13.1 is an approval of the accounts as of May 31st, 2026, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Yance. Any questions on any item in there? Don't see any. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Levier?
Yes.
Councillor Yance?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Member statements? None. New business? None. Bylaw 16.1, bylaw 1036/2026, bylaw to establish tax rates and provide for the collection of taxes and the charging of penalty and interest for the year 2026, and to repeal bylaw 1030/2026. Christine may provide a little explanation. Go ahead.
Thank you. My apologies to council. This bylaw literally just came to council 2 meetings ago for approval. We set in the bylaw the due dates for the installments, and I glossed over the fact that September 30th is National Truth and Reconciliation Day, observed by the township as a statutory holiday, so our offices will be closed. Typically, we select the last day of the month for the installment due date, but we try to do that on a day that the office is actually open. So the revised bylaw has the new due date being September 29th as opposed to September 30th.
A minor date adjustment in dates. So, someone give it 3
Give that
readings.
3 readings.
Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Move on to 17.1, which will be a closed meeting. Before we go into close, I'll read this statement. Pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, this part of the meeting will be closed to the public in order to adopt closed meeting minutes of April 21st and April 24th, and to receive an update regarding litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, and to receive and review resumes for the West Lemacune waste site attendant position, and to receive a property-related complaint which contains personal information about an identifiable individual. And can we have a motion to go in closed meeting? Moved by Councillor Yance, second by Councillor Levier. And I'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson
Yes.
and Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance, and that motion is
Yeah.
carried. And we will be going into closed meeting. Good afternoon. We're back into our regular open session of council. Let's have a rise and report. A closed meeting was held at 2:37 PM today pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended in order to adopt closed meeting minutes of April 21st and April 24th and to receive an update regarding litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality and to receive resumes and select candidates to interview for the West Lemcoon Waste Site attendant position and to receive a property-related complaint which contains personal information about an identifiable individual. Can we have a motion that the recommendations from the closed meeting be adopted? By Councillor Yance, second by Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes, yeah,
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Item 19 is confirming bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting, 3 readings. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Levier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier
yes.
and Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Yance, Councillor Levier, Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Hook, Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned. Good afternoon, everyone.